So what's your state of mind right now, man?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I think I've never felt better. Even though it felt that I wouldn't be feeling this. It's difficult sort of letting go, stepping down, but it's amazing. And I think that one of the reasons why I'm so happy is to see you emerge as well as Torque and doing all of this. I mean, the very fact that we are sitting here and making this happen wouldn't have happened in my time. So fantastic.
And how have you handled transformation?
I've always been very good with it, and I've always been known as somebody who would not have a problem letting it go, whether it was my relationships or the assets that I have. I have no love for the material, or I believe that things should come to an end. I think that's respecting nature. With these organizations, you've got to understand why I did all of this in the first place. So just being a trainer was, yes, I was doing amazing things, but there were other aspirations as well, things that I wanted to see in action, things that I wanted School of Leadership, the foundation and Torque to do. And so put them into action, tried, have had my share of successes and failures. And I can very confidently now, as I've evolved to another level, say that I'm not somebody who's just jumping in and telling you things that he has never tried himself. I have like 4 years of working with 5 organizations, leading them into different directions, and my share of successes and setbacks, like I said. And as an individual, I think that has given me more depth and at the same time a greater vision.
Look back at how you started training. Let's say 11 साल पहले जो ट्रेनिंग का अंदाज होता था और अब जो है, do you see a difference? Is there a stark of a difference या बड़ी minimal changes हैं?
I think from that very, very passionate, childish voice of that time to where it is now, I feel that the content has evolved because there's certain things that I keep saying over and over, and that you see even in my training 8 years ago. So, and I think that's the drive that brought me into the industry, and I think that's something that I should stand by always. But of course, the voice is involved. The content has enriched so much during this time, and I've seen, alhamdulillah, throughout this time, the evolution in the kind of audiences I've got. So last week I was doing a great multinational organization and their leadership. And I was asking myself that, at 30 I was able to do it, and that's of course it didn't start with that, but I'm so happy that I've always seen a step up.
And that perhaps brings us to the question that since you started with youth and then evolved to corporate, कोई 8 साल से corporate के साथ काम कर रहे हो और मुख्तलिफ इदारों के साथ across Pakistan सिलसिला चलता रहता है. How has that been? I mean, how is that different from youth? या similarities हैं? लोगों के problem same ही होते हैं, अलग होते हैं?
I think there's no comparison whatsoever. Corporate is very organized, institutionalized. You know what you're doing. You know what you're getting to. Youth is very unorganized. And youth, I still do it for the love of it. Even though in our industry it's sort of disrespect. But I feel 60% population is youth in Pakistan and mostly clueless. And I go around couple of hours interaction with them, spilling out some ideas, giving them what the institution has failed to give them, what parents haven't supported them on. And so it's stark difference. Youth is more unorganized, like I said, more passion driven work, and just getting youngsters to think beyond the usual that they've been taught. Corporate, of course, has a lot of skill sets, a lot of organizational alignments, re-strategizing, thinking of things, implementation.
And since you keep on meeting a lot of people who have their background from multiple companies, of course.
You keep forgetting them too.
You keep forgetting them too, of course. Yeah, it is
absolutely. People who know you so well, you just don't know.
And they come to you and they greet you and they ask you how you are doing, and you absolutely have no idea कि वो है कौन. So what's the key like? क्या crack करते हो उसके लिए?
So my usual is, of course, meeting everybody with love, but the usual is so what's happening, and usually in what they say and what's happening, you can sort of track back and say, if they've sort of engaged you for some work, they would sort of say, after that training this happened. It is guesswork. Sometimes it's a conversation over, and I just feel that it's at times I don't want to upset people because they come with so much love, and you're not recognizing them. It could be disappointing.
True, absolutely. But इतने सारे लोगों से मिलने के बाद, इतने सारे corporates के साथ काम करने के बाद, कोई अगर एक key understanding बन सकी हो कि इस वक्त पाकिस्तान के corporate sector को learning के हवाले से किस चीज की जरूरत?
Oh, that's a very wide open question. Pakistan corporate is a certain psyche, the mindset that we have of people here. So we don't have love for labor. Because we've been brought up in the Zamindarana times, and we've seen people getting to riches who've not worked hard. So for us, working hard, being a great graduate, or equipping yourself with all the knowledge and all the wisdom is not connected with success.
True.
And therefore, so you have to sort of nurture that. That's the biggest challenge. So learning is hugely undermined from the top of the organizations down to the front line. Most organizations, yes, do it, the top tier organizations, but do they do it for engagement, or do they really believe that it's going to give our people that skill set which
Yeah.
is required for success?
True.
So I think that's the starting point.
Yeah. So more meaning has to be there. More
The
connection
good
has to be
news,
there.
however, is that because the world is changing so rapidly and these exponential times and the technologies that are coming in, and organizations diving into the uncertain, the volatile times,
Yeah.
now it's coming back. So now the need for upping your game, need to ride onto a technology that a big organization couldn't,
Yeah.
but a startup started with that.
Yeah.
So the big organization is wondering, where did we go wrong? We have everything in place.
Yeah.
And so I think these are good times.
So it is not the infrastructure anymore. It is not the resources anymore. It is the idea and the
Change.
Yeah.
I think change takes over, and in fact, bigger the infrastructure, bigger the size, the more trouble you're going to be in.
Absolutely. Now, some quick questions, okay? And you have to be really rapid on these. What would you say to people who miss out on stage, who kind of forgets things?
To presenters
Yeah,
on stage, it wasn't coming from your heart. You were trying too cool to deliver something that you've not internalized.
What would you say to people who think that it's not their fault?
Till the time you keep saying it, nothing changes.
Okay. What would you say to people who don't know how do their days go? They are unplanned, they are unorganized, and they're just with the flow.
Buckle up. It's going to hit you hard when you realize that you spend most of your life doing things that you didn't want to do,
Yeah.
and you just killed it for the heck of it.
Okay. What would you say to people who are looking for a platform to train?
Stop looking for platforms. If you're watching this video, the social media, there's just so much that can happen. Stop whining and complaining and saying that we need a platform.
Okay. What would you say to an organization who doesn't have learning plans for their people?
Well, you're really unfortunate. Miserable organization, and I pity organizations in which people keep doing what they started with, and time goes by. People have salaries going up, positions being changed, and yet the grooming is what they brought with them.
Okay, sir. What would you say to people who think that they know everything?
Gurur ka sar neecha.
What would you say to people who are living the same life routine daily and feel frustrated?
That you're not a robot, insaan ban.
Okay. What would you say to people who don't have a personal vision?
Waste of life.
What?
Kya zindagi.
Okay. What would you say to people who are struggling to balance home and work expectations?
Life is a struggle, so I take it that way. But
Yeah.
but make sure that you don't lose out on your family for your work.
And at times I've seen that if you pick up any successful person in professionally, they never had a balance. You pick up their autobiographies.
So yes, but and no at the same time. I
Yeah.
would say that artist एक artist होता है, लेकिन I think that moment of my child's first walk, that moment that my child says the first word, the first recital at the school. I mean, I have children that age, but I still believe that you should show up at home.
Okay. What would you say to a heartbroken person जिसकी बच्ची या बच्चा उसको छोड़ के चला
There
गया?
are 7 billion people on the planet. I'm sure you can find many more. So move
Okay.
on.
All right. What would you say to the bullied one?
Life is unfair, but you're better than that. You don't have to pass on what you've received.
Okay, that's a powerful one. What would you say to people whose emphasis in life is what others has to say about them? लोग क्या कहेंगे, वो क्या सोचेंगे?
That means no love for what you want to do, and it's such a shitty life, in all honesty.
Yeah.
All you're doing is for somebody else and the people around, and
Yeah.
there'll be all sorts of opinions about anything that you would do.
True.
So you might as well do what you really want to do.
Yeah. So last, what do you say to yourself before hitting the pillow?
Before hitting the pillow?
Yeah.
So that because I don't plan my sleep, so I'm usually working when I fall
Yeah.
asleep, so there's no.
And you sleep wherever you get a chance to. On the floor, on the couch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can sleep standing, I
Yeah.
can sleep on the couch,
Yeah.
wherever you put me.
Yeah. So what's your thought? I mean, is there anything which you would like to think about before you sleep, about your day? How's it like?
Yeah, so I'm a visualizer, so I see a lot of things happening in my mind while I'm sleeping. So yes, there's lots of imagination. I'm generally so full of laughter when I get up or when I'm headed actually at work as well. So yeah, it's happy. I go to sleep very happy with a lot of gratitude.
Okay.
There's always something in the day that you've done which is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Uh-huh. And how do you kind of explain it to yourself if you are having a difficult day? How do you push yourself forward?
Yeah, so music does it. I think
Okay.
a choice of music. So
Okay.
the tip is that if you're going through a breakup, do not listen to sad songs.
Okay.
Because you're just forcing yourself in that condition. So I listen to the opposite usually. Before the
Okay.
training also, the kalam that I played really moves me, gets me up to that stage. You know, so if I have a really bad interview with you, something really crazy happens, I'm going to walk out, sit in my car and play something which will be really happy, upbeat, and that will sort of energize me again.
Would you like to say anything in the end?
Yeah, I keep saying that's the job, but yeah, ऐसे जियो ऐसे कि दुनिया ये तकदीर है. I mean, live as if know that you're gonna die, but also don't die not having lived. You know, the graveyard is full of people who had a lot of aspirations, a lot of talents, and they took them all with them. Most of them. And let's not contribute to that. If we have something, and what a waste if you're not able to pass it on. I think it's not even a waste. I think it's being ungrateful. I think it's being insincere.
Yeah.
It's being unfair.
Thank you very much.